corporate social responsibility.
A woman CEO.
How do you think that's going to affect your business?
To state your values and
Changes the status quo in the beauty industry.
there is no perfect time to start.
Feminism.
Fashion business management,
Black Lives Matter.
that's how it all started.
A wildly successful presence.
Women are dominating the customer data. So
Good morning, Polina, from snowy Chicago to snowy Istanbul. I'm very excited to be presenting you to my audience as a female entrepreneur of a tech beauty company. I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
So my name is Polina, I'm 24 years old and I currently live in Istanbul, Turkey. So I have a YouTube channel that I have had for the past 5 years and I've been monetizing it for the past 3.5 to 4 years. So that's one of my businesses that I actually do as a work. So it's not just like a blog, how it was when I just started, because I didn't start it as a business back then, but it turned into a good business. And in the summer of 2019, my boyfriend and I started a tech company that is called Beautico, which is a marketplace for beauty specialists and customer. What we basically do, we connect beauty professionals with customer and we do get a commission out of it. So we don't hire our own professionals, but yeah, as I said, we are a marketplace that just connects professionals with the customer.
You have a wildly successful presence on social media. Has that played any significant role in you creating a beauty tech business?
Both yes and no, I guess, because yes, it definitely does help with like promotion and marketing strategies, and I do have a huge influence here, so it definitely does help with that. But it didn't start because I have had this audience, because when we first started, it actually, like, I wasn't included at all. Kerem decided to start this company with one of his friends, and then that friend actually did go out of the business and he was like, oh, like I won't be able to do that on my own, so like it's better to have someone in business. So he was like, maybe we should do that together, because like you have a huge marketing value for us that we can use in the future, and I have more business wise experience because he have had like a different company before that. So yes and no.
So you were kind of thrown into this business by demand.
I don't really remember. I think I was initiating that. So he was like, let's try and see if that works out, because before that we wasn't working together on my YouTube side of the business as well. But now we do actually, so we are partners both in Beautico and here in my YouTube and like Instagram social media side of business as well.
How did the idea for your business come about?
Like it was almost 2 years ago. One of Kerem's friends that actually grew up in America but was Turkish, she is Turkish, and she came up to him with this idea saying that, oh hey, like there is a beauty service that I use here in America that is really helpful in like many ways, but I guess there's nothing like that in Turkey, so maybe we should recreate something similar but with more like Turkish side of the business. So they started the development of the app, so everything was going good, and at some point she just disappeared. It wasn't like, oh hey, you know, I'm not feeling like doing that anymore. She disappeared like cold turkey. She didn't answer her phones, no emails, nothing. And Kerem was like really upset about this whole situation, because it has been like a couple of months that they were working on that project. And he was like, well, I mean, I am so excited about this idea and I think it's gonna work, so what do I do now? After a couple of months of thinking and trying to see if there's someone else that he can go and like continue on working on that project, I was like throwing that idea sometimes, you know, like maybe we should do it and try like together. But you know, like I grew up like always hearing that relationship and like business side doesn't like go along together and it shouldn't be combined because it doesn't usually work out in a good way. So Kerem was on the same page, so he was like, oh, you know, it's gonna like hurt our relationship. So for a couple of months we were like, yeah, let's just find someone else who can do that with you. But then I was like, maybe we should just try, because I am pretty sure that I can have an input into that business, like I can give something, and you're stronger more like business-wise. Let's just try, you know? And we did that, so I think it's worked out pretty good. That's how it all started.
It's very courageous of you to have offered your contribution into this project. And what are your titles?
Kerem's a really good goal for the business to have a woman CEO for this business. That's what we're looking forward to do in like the really near future. We're not really concentrating on women only for the business, because there are many men who want to get beauty services as well here in Turkey and all around the world. But still, predominantly, women are dominating the customer data. And we would love to have a CEO that is woman.
Right. Have you considered evolving from the role that you currently have into a role of a CEO at Beautico, or are you considering bringing someone in?
We are actually considering bringing someone in. I really don't think I see myself being the CEO of the company, because I see the perspective and I see that it's gonna grow and grow every single year if everything goes right, obviously. So I think I will have to give up on other things that I am so passionate about for that. So I'm not taking that much of the role for this business, but we would love to have like other women to work in our company.
I'm going to make a smooth transition from our previous question into the next question, which is corporate social responsibility. I'm seeing a lot of emphasis on creating an inclusive business. I think that is closely related to your values that are vested in your corporate social responsibility. What are some other additional future steps that you are planning to take in terms of CSR, and how do you think that's going to affect your business?
I'm pretty sure we share same values with Kerem, but I will speak for myself. I think that it is important to have an opinion, and it's important to state your values and to show where you stand. And I also think that it should be done elegantly, not so aggressively and harshly, because there are definitely a lot of people who are not on the same page, maybe yet, because you're not speaking just for yourself, you're speaking for your business. Especially at that point, it's important to be kind of sensitive, but it is definitely important to have an opinion and to show the world where you stand.
I wanted to talk about the two very different opposite spectrums of cancel culture. We're running a business in the US, not talking about LGBTQ, not talking about feminism, ignoring the fact that Black Lives Matter would get you canceled as a business, as an entrepreneur, as a personal brand. We have the exact opposite spectrum of that in Turkey, in Azerbaijan, in the countries of Eastern Europe, where if you do bring up topics such as feminism, LGBTQ rights, human rights, racism, you get canceled. How do you manage this cancel culture?
Being silent in Turkey unfortunately works better for you. Like, if you don't have an opinion, that is better than if you do have an opinion, because when you state your opinion, you kind of get cancelled from either one side of the Turkey or another. But for me and for Kerem, it is important to state and to show where we stand and what are the values that we hold to. Yeah, if someone would not use our app just because we support women, there is, I guess, nothing we can really do. Like, that's our values, and we are really willing to show them. Again, not so aggressively, not so harshly, but we're not like hiding what we stand for.
And I think you have values that other businesses in Turkey could really look up to and learn from. These are the types of entrepreneurs that Eastern Europe needs in order to jump onto that next level of social awareness.
It should start at some point. As I see it, like, people will get used to seeing those kind of photos or like posting from different companies or individuals, because you know, when you first post something, you get a really harsh feedback, but then people get used to it, and in a good way. I mean, people become more open about talking like on certain things. So I think like as companies speak up about minorities, that will just change like perspective of a lot of people.
We hear a lot of opinions about the importance of education when it comes to building a corporate career, but there's not that much of an emphasis on education when it comes to building a career in entrepreneurship as an entrepreneur. And my question to you is, did your education contribute significantly to your entrepreneurship career, or do you feel like your education and your current career are completely unrelated?
Well, I wouldn't say they're completely unrelated, because I studied fashion business management, which kind of goes aligned with what I do for like YouTube and Instagram. What I studied in FIT and I graduated just recently.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my diploma. So yeah, what I studied, it was so technical, like I learned a lot of terms and like, you know, that kind of stuff. But throughout my education, I felt like I already knew 99% of what I was studying, just in a practical way, not in a theoretical way. They're both important, I would agree with that, but being a blogger, a YouTuber, there is a huge aspect of yourself that you're putting it rather than the education you get. And like media, marketing, they're changing every single day. So what I was learning at FIT like 2 years ago, that might be already outdated for today. You know what I mean? So I'm not really sure if that really helped with where I am now or what I want to do in the future. But I definitely am supportive for education.
What do you feel is the biggest strength of your company right now?
First mover advantage, I guess. And actually that might be an advantage and disadvantage as well, because it takes some time for people to get used to certain things. And the marketing side of me having like a huge audience. And also not outsourcing the marketing.
What were some of the biggest challenges that you have had to overcome on this journey?
Being in New York for a long period of time when we just started. Because, well, first of all, there is a time zone difference and all of our developers were here in Istanbul. It is manageable for a certain period of time, but when it goes for months, it is really hard to keep up with life there and work here.
What was your biggest failure at Beautico and what did you learn from it?
We didn't have an in-house developer, and that was a huge struggle at the beginning, because there was a guy that was pretty good at his work, but he was so hard to communicate with. He would just disappear for a couple of days with no answer to his like phone or like messages, and then he would just come back and say like, oh hey, yes, I did that. But at that certain period of time, like for a couple of days, we would literally have heart attacks, because like, where is he? You know, like we have to have this like new feature by the end of the Friday, let's say, but he just nowhere to be found. And especially with, again, being in New York at that time, it just doubles up the struggle. I'm not really sure if that was a failure, but that was something that we really dealt with for a long time, because we couldn't like get an in-house developer.
It was more of a challenge. Delegation is definitely one of the hardest parts of running a business. Well, you've mentioned earlier that there are about 10 people working for Beautico at the moment. What is your company culture like and how did you establish it?
Since everyone is working remotely, it's really hard for us to establish a company culture, I think. And since we had some trouble with developers along the way, so people really would come and go, and it makes it even harder to establish a company culture. But when we do come together, and we do come together sometimes for like work days and stuff, everyone like gets along really good, so which is like everyone is pretty respectful and hardworking. So
do you hire for skill and train for attitude, or do you hire for attitude and train for skill?
We do hire for attitude.
Polina, I guess to conclude our interview, I'd like to ask you to share your recommendations with fellow entrepreneurs, especially with female entrepreneurs that are getting their foot into the tech industry, which is a male-dominant industry, really. So what are your top 3 recommendations for female entrepreneurs?
First one is definitely that there is no perfect time to start. That's something I really learned along the way, because I was so conscious about my English before starting English channel. I was so conscious about like being good at filming before even starting my Turkish YouTube channel, and I was waiting for that perfect time to start, which never comes because you're already good enough to start, and along the way you will learn how to deal with things. The second one is that definitely people won't be always supportive, and that's something that you should kinda accept beforehand. No matter what's the reason of people not being supportive, to still follow your passion and your excitement to start certain things. And the third one is definitely having a team.
Right.
Nowhere without a team. That is a mistake I made myself at the beginning, and no matter what are you starting, even like if it's a tech company, YouTube, a cafe, restaurant, no matter what, having a team is really, really important. You will figure out how big your team should be along the way, but having at least someone that will support or complete the things that you are not capable of is so important.
Polina, thank you so very much for having taken this precious time out of your busy schedule, for having shared your insights, experience, values with my audience. And I'm pretty sure that thousands of girls out there are looking up to you. You are such a role model with, as I've mentioned earlier, a wildly successful, perfectly established personal brand in the first place, and now as a business owner in the tech industry. Yeah, I hope this company grows and scales and changes the status quo in the beauty industry in Eastern Europe as well as in the US, hopefully. I look forward to meeting you in New York one day or in Chicago.
Thank you so much for having me. It was definitely a pleasure. I did enjoy my time talking to you. So yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.